Hey, what's going on, guys? It's David here from Genzio. We're in Hong Kong at Consensus, and I'm here with Amar of Tashi. Amar, man, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Good to see you again. Last time was at Tashi House in Singapore. That was a real blast.
That was a real blast, man. Not every time you get to attend something and then be told by the owner, hey, jump into my pool, you know? So that was an opportunity I had to take. And
peacocks all around.
And peacocks all around, yeah. Awesome, man. Well, it's good to see you here. Is this your first Consensus?
No, we were here last year too. Like, Hong Kong is really back. I've been coming to Hong Kong for 15 years now. There was a period in the middle where there was a slight lull. And last year we felt it. And this year, the whole city is vibing. It's amazing.
No, Hong Kong is any opportunity I get to come here, whether it's for a conference or my own personal endeavor, I try to make it happen. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, you guys are here for a reason. I'd love for you now to kind of introduce us to Tashi and give us a little bit of an introduction.
For sure. So Tashi is building the coordination layer for AI and robotics. What that means is that we enable coordination between robots in a trustless environment. So for most folks, this is obviously a bunch of words. Use cases are the easiest. So there's two use cases we're focused on right now. One is drone swarms. So imagine you send out 10 drones for search and rescue, mapping, even in war zones. You're typically sending these drones out as individually autonomous. So we make them collectively autonomous. So you get collective context because each drone can speak to each other when it's out there without being near a data center. And that's quite critical, and it just helps with efficiency. It helps with a whole bunch of things. And I can talk about some of those really wild use cases we're seeing right now pop up. And the second one is multi-vendor robots in warehouses. So imagine you have a Tesla robot and a Unity robot, and there's tons of others, but just using those popular names as examples that are operating on their own clouds. There isn't an environment where you can control both of them without losing their own sovereignty. So this trustless environment allows them to coordinate tasks without having to go back to their own servers and the servers connecting with each other. And like as we're seeing like what's happening in the AI agent space, with Claude now becoming OpenClaw and how that's blowing up, everything will have an agent. That ecosystem is going to blow up. You need a trustless environment for this to scale up. And that's what we're building.
Absolutely. Trustless is definitely something when you're talking about this that is it's vital, right? I feel like most people's concern when they're speaking about anything AI related or robotic related is their concerns of, and so what are you guys doing? Obviously, putting it on chain and using this the way that you are to kind of defeat these problems. But, what are you guys doing?
So we've built a few things in our tech stack. We've been building this for 4+ years. Me and my other two co-founders have been serial entrepreneurs. So, we've kind of been tackling this from the ground up. The core part of our tech stack is we built our own consensus protocol that is specifically built for this reason. So it's not a blockchain, it's different, it's a DAG-based consensus. So what happens is you have, say, a small group of machines, say, 32 robots or whatever that number is in that range. They all form consensus between each other by sharing small pieces of packets of information with each other in small epochs.
Okay.
And 2/3 align with each other and agree with what they're hearing about the entire state, not just about what they're saying. And that kind of helps build this private mesh network.
Yeah.
And the beauty about what we built is that you're getting this consensus in average about 30 milliseconds.
Oh, wow.
So that's the real sweet spot because blockchains, even when they get really fast, are still slow.
Yeah.
And they're still living on a cloud, etc. So you're building this, think of it like a local private mesh network, which is getting you the security of what blockchain speaks about, but for real world use cases.
Okay, all right. And now, speaking of real world use cases, who would be your general user? Let's say like myself, I can use it, right? But also a business could use, right?
Absolutely. So we're focused on businesses entirely. In the robotics space right now, we're focused on warehousing. Okay. So anyone that's deploying robots in warehouses, and that's not just humanoids because that industry is very new. The robotics industry has been around for a long time, right? You have large companies like Amazon Robotics and ABB and all of them doing so much stuff. So the need for having different types of robots in the warehouse is blowing up. So that use case is, one of the vital ones that we're working towards. And we work with deployment partners who are focused on putting these robots in these warehouses. Then we have like drone companies, right? So we have some wild use cases of sending drones in war zones right now, where they need these private mesh networks for the drones. We have partners who are doing search missions, etc. So that's another big use case. So our For us, it's essentially working with companies that are using machines at scale, and they need these private networks to allow them to have collective context.
Okay. And, something that, as a pioneer like yourself, having to, kind of hurdle your way through these things, because it's cutting edge stuff, right? What are some, problems you guys have faced, and how have you been able to kind of defeat these issues?
So the biggest thing is, like, when you do new stuff, people don't instantly understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
because humans always like to compare things with something they already know. And that's why I guess blockchain scaled up, because everyone was just building things that people started understanding. And one of the guys in the previous panel was asking about, what do you think about the market going down? And he was like, listen, think about it. We have 20,000 people here. I don't need to explain blockchain to them anymore. So that's obviously a big evolution. So that's our big challenge, is when we're talking about this, when we go to new customers and we explain ourselves to them, they don't instantly get it. So there is a slight education gap. That's what we're looking to overcome, is build these, and we're doing it via building these use cases where it's less about explaining the technology, it's more just explaining why this is better. Yeah. So we've kind of built these specific videos saying that peer-to-peer, these mesh networks are better than the client-server model, and people look at it and they instantly get it. But we're going to do that at scale, and chats like this really help us, because it helps explain and break down what we're doing and why we're doing it. And the more people understand this, it becomes easier for us to scale.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Now, we are in February, still Q1. What can people be excited about moving forward for this year, and we'll say next year as well?
For sure. So there's lots of things to be excited about. Before I get into that, I'll just add one more thing. So like I said, there's two things what we built. One was this proprietary consensus. And then to kind of complete the loop, we built our own Deepin, where we have about 60,000 community-run Tashi nodes offering edge-based consensus, edge-based compute, etc., for these networks. That's kind of spun around recently because of the robotics world requiring data in local context. So we're starting to collect data on the edge, and that's helping these networks do a lot more. So we're feeding them into all kinds of open AI models, etc., open source models, and like that is just going to help the entire ecosystem.
Totally.
That whole ecosystem, and that's one of the common questions we get, is like, yeah, what's Web3? So obviously the whole tech is Web3, but the Deepin is fully Web3. And that Deepin is powered by the Tashi token. So people run the nodes, they earn rewards, and at some point in the next few months, we'll have a TGE coming up, which we're quite excited about, because, like, people love our network. So every time something goes down, we've been getting close to 10,000 new node operators every 10 days. And this is organic. We've not gone around doing a bunch of marketing, because we want to scale this from the ground up. And we're thinking of this as a long-term play. We're here for, for the next 5-10 years. And we really want to build this. And so there's no rush to say, let's go get the next million testnet users, launch the chain, and do airdrops, right? So that's not the core model. So all the people who are running this, they really like what we've built. They're excited by it. They see the use case. And that's been fantastic for us. So that's one big thing we're excited about, is getting the TG live, support all the folks that have been early node operators for Tashi, and get them some airdrops, etc., in place. The second part is we have tons of pilots and POCs in place, which are more with the Web 2 guys.
Yeah.
So all of these are people that are, hardcore development, manufacturing folks, and they've started to look at Tashi and test it out and put it into use. So we have a few exciting ones in the next 3 to 4 months. Once those go live, I think it'll really set us up for a much more exciting future, where we'll start obviously becoming a bigger enterprise company and so on. And then we'll kick off another bigger fundraise as well, because, in the robotics space, we want to go out and, what you just asked, right? Spend some money in building and being more evangelical about what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So how are you guys applying yourself to a real world market at this current stage?
So we have a couple of really exciting use cases. Yesterday, I met Dr. Ben Gotzel, the founder of SingularityNet, and we ended up having a 2-hour session, which started with them talking about, they have this project called Mind Children, launching them in a space called Digiverse in Turkey. And they were giving an example that, they want all the humanoids there to have collective context. And they realized that Tashi is the best way to make that happen.
Yeah.
So we're looking at that pilot going live in the next 2 months. So it'll be in a live location, right? It's not just in a random warehouse that people can't see. This is a place that people can travel to and check it out. So it'll be interesting. So like, think of a scenario, you walk in right now and the humanoid one sees you and is like, hi, David, and has a chat about you. What are you excited about? Then when you move forward, humanoid 2 is not meeting you again.
Yeah.
You already knows the chat you've had with humanoid 1 and is like, oh, David, this is what you were excited about. Let me point you in this direction, right? So it'll be an exciting experience for people to kind of go through and see that how that's playing out, that you're moving through this multiverse kind of environment and everyone's learning about you through this. And by the time you come out, like these 10 humanoids have a version of David in their head, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we're powering. He went on to say that, at the end of it, Dr. Ben is building his own house. So he's like, I'd love to see if you guys do this well, you can put Tashi in my house to connect and secure all the devices. So that would be super exciting. Another really wild one is one of our partners from back in the day ended up selling their company to Animoca, now working with one of Eric Schmidt's company that's trying to build defense tech for the Ukraine war. It's quite stealth, so just keeping the details at a high level. And they're essentially helping the drones that are going out there to fight the Russian army. And one of the challenges that they're facing right now is that the drones are individually going out, and the reason they don't want the drones to speak to each other is because it opens them for hacking. Because you're kind of sending airwaves, and that opens up other information that they might be able to pick up. And that's why they really like Tashi, that you're enabling the cross communication across the drones without leaving themselves to be hacking, because our consensus is pretty intense. It's very hard to break that. So it gives you a secure protocol when these drones can share information, because if drone 1 sees something in a specific spot, it can tell drone 10 a bunch of things, right? Like either come here or send this information back or go do this, and that enables or accelerates a lot of the progress in the war. So not something that we typically are advocating for, but it's there's a real need for stuff like this, and it's pretty wild that we're going to be seeing some of that pretty soon.
Awesome, man. That's cool. Awesome. Well, you guys heard it. Expect TGE. It's coming soon. You got some alpha. My guy Amar here. That is huge. I'm excited about it myself. Robotics is something I can get behind. Now, where can our viewers follow you guys to stay up to date?
For sure. So X is the most popular place that we typically post all the details on. So we're active on Telegram and on Discord as well. So our X has our link tree. So all those are there.
Yep.
But on X, we're at Tashi Protocol. That's the best place to track everything, and all the relevant links are in there.
Perfect, man. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot, David.
To, the evolution,
this was
man.
fantastic. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hey, what's up?
But it's not something Gen Z is afraid of.
If you want to survive, you got to build a
How
hive.
many know we do not understand that we need more? Ladies and gentlemen,
We're back at the Gen Z Media House.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today.